Oh, hello, hello, and we are back live again. As always, let me double check. You know, these notifications always, there's a delay, so I always get a little panicked when I don't see right away. Oh, am I live? It says I'm live. I'm just not getting any notification that I'm live yet. Okay, now I think I'm okay. It's again, always that little delay makes me panicked. Okay, there I am. Yes.
I'm okay.
There. Okay,
It's again
lovely.
always
Hello,
that.
everyone. Yes, this is where, oh, I would love a videographer who just goes, you're on. Lovely. Instead of, again, being the one-man band that I am, but I'm always trying my best to, again, anyway, to share the Janome love. So, yay, my sister is here. Hello. It is wonderful to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's wonderful to see you all. It's actually a very sunny day here at my palatial estate in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. I'm again about 2 hours north of Toronto. And it's actually a little mild today, knock wood. So let's hope it stays that way. But as I always say, regardless of whatever the weather, let's just stay inside and so. So, hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Michael Smith, the National Education Manager of Janome Canada, and I'm back here to share more as we're wrapping up National Embroidery Month. Again, more of these wonderful little tips and tricks and some accessories that are available from your Janome dealer that can help the process to be faster, easier, more professional results, including what I'm going to share with you today. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, earlier, before you joined me, oh, yes, I was stitching out this gorgeous embroidery design. And you say, oh, where did you get that? You know, a number of our Janome embroidery machines, they come with so many beautiful designs, but you know, we always want more. So this beautiful design came from, let's just flip around right now. Oh, I'll flip my camera first. Came right around to camera. There we go. Came from Janome, Australia. I've talked about them, there we go, a couple of times, as usual, lots to share with you. So, yes, you type in your browser Janome, Australia, and you hit the inspiration tab. And here, inspiration, we scroll down. They have a lot of free projects, but here, free embroidery designs. So for the month of February, then we can click on those. Beautiful designs. There we go. This is the design I just stitched out. Here is another one. Free embroidery design. So again, you put on a USB stick and you bring into your Janome embroidery machine, whichever one it is. And I loved these. Not only they're so beautiful and so intricate, but especially because they are in a circle. We don't often see these beautiful circular designs. And of course, that got my wheels spinning, creative wheels spinning. Remember when I did this cute little trivet using the Janome circular sewing attachment with the decorative stitches in our machine? Don't you think that would make a beautiful topper for our trivet here? So yes, you could use your circular attachment, but this design, it actually fits. It's almost like I planned this, but I didn't. But this is what I love, the creative minds, you know, we all kind of think alike. So this, cut it out, and this could be your trivet. So isn't that gorgeous? And then again, there's the other design. Ooh, there it is. The other design. Now, the cool thing with our embroidery software, like Embroidery Editor, that comes with a number of machines, we can print out these templates, which I'm going to talk about today, because this is a great tie-in to what we're going to talk about specifically today. But I always love to share as much info as possible. These printed templates are invaluable. And then, yes, I can cut them even more. So here is the, you know, the paper, 8.5 by 11 paper. But then when I do my templates for my perfect embroidery placement, I cut them out in the shape of the design, so it's a little easier to use. So perfecting our embroidery placement, that is the perfect segue into our topic today is the fabulous Janome Clothsetter. Boom, boom. The Universal Clothsetter, and why it is named that is at one time we had multiple clothsetters for a number of machines. You know, Janome was the first home embroidery machine in 1990 when the Memorcraft 8000 came out, was the world's first home embroidery machine, and Janome has been coming out with clothsetters for virtually every machine since. Every embroidery machine. Now, so far there is not one for the CM17. This will not fit the CM17, but it works with a number of other machines as well. So, of course, you can go to janome.ca and janome.com to find more information about the Clothsetter. You go to Janome Life blog. There's a million blogs about the Clothsetter. And, of course, you go check with your fabulous Janome dealer. So the Clothsetter is a big piece. It's a big tool here, a big sheet of plastic, very sturdy table. And this is what I love, is when we are going to hoop our designs, it can really help us in a number of ways. So it's a very sturdy, as you see, very sturdy construction, very sturdy construction. There's a little bit of assembly required in that this arm all comes tucked in the back of the table. It's really quite ingenious. And then there's a couple of screws here and a couple of screws right here that you need to put in to attach this arm, but it's so simple to do. Full instructions, of course. But the main thing is, there's a metal plate up here with an A and a B, and then there's a metal plate here. This little crosshairs, very important for our embroidery design placement specifically. Oh, look at my printed templates here with that crosshairs. So where else do we see those crosshairs in our Janome embroidery? Oh, look, our hoops, for example, with our grid here. So again, we orient the hoop with the arrow up, and then here are the crosshairs. So this will help refine our embroidery design placement. I love your chats. Oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet. So yes, for our embroidery placement. So regardless of what machine, for the most part. Now, again, it'll fit a variety of machines. There's, again, many blogs on Janome Life, or again, you check the accessories tab of janome.com and janome.ca specifically. But maybe you can see there's an A right next to this notch, and there's a B next to this notch. So for machines like the fabulous Memorcraft 15,000, for example, for my hoop here is the SQ14A hoop. For my 15,000 here, the 12,000 would also apply. We need that higher notch there, the A notch. Other machines like the Skyline S9, the 9850, the 9900, they would use this B notch down here, this lower notch. We have the same style of hoops for all of those machines. It's just this arm is a little different size for those other machines. So the 15,000 and the 12,000 can use this upper A notch. And again, Skyline S9, 9900, 9850, the arm here of the hoop's a little smaller, so we use the B notch. And it's really cool because one reason why I love this Clothsetter, you see this little pin here of the embroidery hoop, and this is what clips into the metal plates up here for this style of hoop. Well, then again, when we're using our table, especially a wooden table, like I don't want to scratch my wooden table with this little pin. And a lot of times when I was hooping my fabric, you know, this hoop is kind of dancing all around the table. It's very slick. So it was moving around the table. So the Clothsetter helps us in many ways, one of which is we line up the pin with the groove in the little notch, and we click it as if it's just like in the embroidery carriage. We just click the hoop in place, boom, that hoop is not going anywhere. So not only does it help prevent any damage to my table with that little pin exposed in my embroidery hoop, so it's saving my table, but the hoop is not going anywhere. It's locked into place. So it's easier to hoop your fabric this way by locking the hoop in place. Now I have two free hands. So we often refer to the Clothsetter here as your third hand. So that definitely helps. So when we're hooping our fabric here for our machines like the fabulous, let's wake it up again, the fabulous 500E, 550E, 550ELE. Oh yes, and my little glove for my poor hand. Yes, I feel like Michael Jackson wearing my glove. But yes, so this for the 550E, 500E, 550ELE, our hoops attach differently. The carriage is different, so they attach at the side of the carriage instead of the back. So that's when we use this metal clamp. And again, our embroidery hoops, just like they are in the carriage, we just lock them into place and boom, that is not going anywhere. So when we go to hoop up our fabric, for example, with our stabilizer, for example, again, and then I have two free hands. So it just makes it easier. My hoop is not, as I'm adjusting my stabilizer and adjusting my fabric, you know, that I can tweak my fabric in the hoop, and the hoop is not moving anywhere. So it just makes it easier. And particularly then with these hoops, when I go in, I can still slightly pivot my hoop so I can turn this screw. If you can't get your fingers under there, we don't want to over tighten this screw, but we can always get in a little screwdriver. So if you can't lift up, just gently lift up this hoop to tighten that screw. This is one of the big handled screwdrivers. You can get these in a blister pack from your Janome dealer. And you're just going to tighten this. We don't want to over tighten it at all, but we can tighten it up this way. So it makes it super easy to very fast to hoop up our fabric, and away we go. So then that, and again, it goes very secure. We then take our fabric. In this case, I just hooped my stabilizer, and then I have my fabric here somewhere. Oh, there we go. And then sometimes I only hoop my stabilizer, and then I float my fabric on top like this, and then put this in the machine. And again, you'll see how the hoops here of the 500E and 550E, 550ELE, again, the hoop attaches just to the side of the carriage here. So again, this is the same cup link that we have on the Clothsetter. So again, depending on what machine you have, the Universal Clothsetter will probably work. Now, again, as a caveat, it does not work for the CM17. And if you have like older machines, you know, an 11,000, for example, Janome had at one point a separate Clothsetter for the 11,000, and there was a separate Clothsetter, I think even for the like 350E or like the 230E older machines, there were Clothsetters for those as well. But again, the Universal Clothsetters for most recent machines, again, 15,000, 12,000, we'll use that A notch. And then and again, America, they had the 14,000, which we didn't in Canada. But that'll all take the A, and then the B is Skyline S9, 9850, and 9900. So that's great. The side here, again, will be 550E, 550ELE, 500E, anything that clips to the side. So yes, it is indeed very cool. Can I use the Clothsetter on the M17? No. I'm hoping one day we will have one, because again, the CM17 hoops attach differently. It's all based on the carriage and the cup link of how your hoops attach into the carriage. The CM17 has an entirely different way that the hoops attach. They have an entirely different carriage. So far there is not a carriage for, or a cloth setter for the CM17. I don't know if there will be one day, but we'll keep you posted. So now where this cloth setter really comes in handy, ooh, let me bring back all of this, is, again, so that's great. It protects my table. It helps make my hooping a little easier. But then also when we get into perfecting embroidery placement, like this, for example, this is a great, can I use it on the 9900? Yes. This is why I do repeat myself, and sometimes people say, wow, you repeat yourself a lot, because I find I say the information and then people join a bit later, or maybe they're not really paying attention. So I do like to share as much as possible. So yes, your 9900, your Skyline S9, your 9850 is going to use this B slot. Your 15,000, 12,000, 14,000 is going to use that one. So yes, when we're getting into a multiple hooping, and this will be another presentation, I'm sure, at some point, when we get into multiple hooping and we print out our embroidery placements, again, this is where Janome really thinks of everything. We print out with the grid here that's on our paper. It's the same as the grid that's on the plastic templates for all of our embroidery hoops. And this is what's going to help us align all of our designs. So again, the Clothsetter is perfect for this. If we're just hooping our fabric, straight up, and we're just hooping our fabric, as normal, fine, that's no big deal. In the embroidery design is going to be in the center. Again, if the embroidery design is going to be in the center of the hoop, then this is fine. This is, not really difficult to line up. But it's when we get into these multi-hoopings and we're transferring and twisting the design. For example, if you see over here, you see my crosshairs are no longer straight 90 degrees up and down. They're slightly curved. And this one up here, it's not 90 degrees. It is slightly curved. So to help in this embroidery placement, again, not only we're going to print out all these templates, and this I created using the embroidery editor software, again, included in a number of our machines. Here is my little practice piece to help me get this beautiful placement of our embroidery designs, where I had to do one hooping and one hooping and one hooping and one hooping. In order to do that, I had a big piece of fabric here. And because I printed out all of these templates, this is my guide, and it's telling me how to orient the fabric. And in this case, again, this crooked design here, it's going off at an angle. So this is where the Clothsetter can be invaluable. So in this case, again, you'll see my arrow. It's going off at an angle. It's not a perfect 90 degrees. So what I do here is we take our embroidery hoop, whichever one we want to use. And, oh yes, as an aside, because I figured I will get this question, even this giant RE36B hoop, it's so big, I can't get it into the shot. This big RE36B hoop for the 550E and 550 ELE, yes, it will work with the Clothsetter. So yes, all of the hoops for the 500E, 550E, 550 ELE will work. So when we're refining our embroidery design placement, again, we're going to put in our hoop here. We're going to lock the hoop in place. Boom. I don't need this anymore because I've already, well, actually, yes. I don't want to get too far ahead. What I am going to do, when I have my template all printed out here, then again, I'm going to lay my fabric down. We cut our big piece of fabric when we're doing multi-hooping. We cut our fabric really big, and then we're going to mark. I can see the marks through my fabric here. Now I'm going to use a pen just so you can all see, but normally we would use a chalk or fabric erasable pen, something like that. But I can see my grid here through my fabric. So I have marked the registration lines for my design. So again, this is where I need way more room. And the design I'm going to stitch out today. I know you've seen this before, this cute little mini duckling. And then, oops, here it is on my machine already, this cute little mini duckling design. Now, where I got that is, again, we go on janome.ca and we type in the Inspire tab. And then, we click on Inspire. And then we scroll down to embroidery designs, and there are tons of free embroidery designs. This is the same as janome.com. And then specifically, I'm going to find this duckling. I start typing in duckling, this cute little mini duckling. This was created by it was initially a Janome Canada artisan, and then became our parts, notions, and accessories coordinator, Tanya Denier. Who sadly is no longer with Janome, but she has moved on to wonderful creative things. She's still out there, the creative force that she is. And Tanya drew this, and then our fabulous educator, Celine, digitized it. It's a free embroidery. There's the GIF file, downloaded it onto your USB stick. And when it's in, oops, and I will get here too. Again, there's so many things. I try to do it all step by step. We bring it into our embroidery editor software, and this is where we can manipulate it, do whatever we wish. But we can go up here, as I've demoed before. Again, we go to print, and we can print out a template. This is how we get all of our templates, that we either have the embroidery editor software, or you have the artistic digitizer software. You can print out templates. Again, we write the design to the USB stick. I've done that a number of times here. So as you get this, there is your template. And then again, I just cut around it so it's a little bit easier to see. We take our acrylic grid, our hard plastic grid here, and we again make sure that is left and right, the way it's oriented, again the way that this will clamp into my machine. My arrow is up. So with our fabulous green painter's tape, I love it. You could use blue, but I'm a fan of green the most. So with our green painter's tape, again, I just like to tape this onto my template there, oriented correctly, again with the arrow up. So then now I can position my fabric. Again, my lower hoop is clamped into the Clothsetter. So now I can bring in my inner hoop, and I just have it resting in here. I haven't really clamped it in. And what I'm going to do is, again, I want to make sure that I get these markings in the same position. So if my design was just straight on like this, I hoop my fabric and no big deal. But my fabric, I need to turn my fabric. So again, my arrow is going up. It's going alongside in the same direction. I'll remove my grid here. So you can see the arrow, again, is now pointing up here towards the notch of the hoop. So my fabric is no longer straight. There was my big rectangle of fabric. It's no longer straight. My fabric is at an angle, because that's how I positioned my design when I was in my embroidery editor software and creating that whole multi-hoop layout. Then again, you see that it's not at a straight line. It's not at a 90 degrees. It's off at an angle here. It's not directly 90 degrees. So that's why I had to hoop my fabric a little cattywampus, as a technical term. So again, then I can see with the lines on my fabric, and then maybe it'll be easier. I'll remove the hoop so then you can see underneath. So again, when you're at home, it's easier to flip this back and forth and see. But just so you can see, I've removed my template, and maybe you can see there through my pen marks, and then there was my center mark. I can faintly see my arrow that I pointed up, and then there's my arrow there. So I know my fabric is exactly where I needed to, where I had my design on my template, so I knew it was oriented correctly. I remove the template and I can refine this even more, so it's 100% perfect. If there's a line, a stripe, again, that I have two hands that I can manipulate this fabric, and then when I know I've got it exactly where I want it, then I push down on my inner hoop. I'm just pushing down. It was just kind of floating, but I still haven't clamped it. So again, if I need to just refine it, and I'm just slightly tugging the lower bit of my fabric here, I'm just tugging a little bit of my fabric here so I could make sure that my lines, my little dots, are all in a straight line here. And again, my arrow, I can pull my fabric over a little bit this way. So again, I got it exactly where I want to. It really helps us refine the embroidery design placement. It's such an ingenious setup. Again, the Clothsetter, it's worth its weight in gold. It makes it so easy. So once I have this all exactly as I want, again, we can go in and we could tighten up this screw. Again, we generally can finger tighten it just like this. But again, if it's a little too hard for you to get your fingers in here because it's flat on the table, you can slightly elevate the hoop, but you don't want to do it too much because you don't want to make your hoop all out of shape. So then this is where you slightly tighten this with the screwdriver, because you don't want to over tighten this screw. That can warp your hoop. So gingerly, don't go telling everyone, Michael told us to use that screwdriver. I said gingerly. So we don't want any warped hoops. So there, it works out beautifully. And then, yes, make sure we remove the plastic. We remove the little plastic grid. We do not want to stitch through that. And then again, this is where we use the water soluble or iron off pen, because there, as I put in, you see how everything perfect. That center dot is perfect. Do you see that? Center dot is perfect. That arrow is perfect. Then this is why I love the Clothsetter. And again, because then I've got two free hands, so I can manipulate this fabric all that I want. And then even now I've taken my hoop off the Clothsetter. Now I can really tighten this up better. So no problem. This is done. I take it over. We clamp it on into our machine. And away we go. And again, you see my fabric is not, my fabric is not the way that it comes. Why aren't you using that arm that comes down? Oh, yes. Because I got too ahead of myself. Thank you. I'm so glad people are watching and paying attention. So yes, because I got so ahead of myself and so excited. This arm of the Clothsetter, and it's also so you can all see, but this arm on the Clothsetter, do you see how it has the arrow pointing up and the lines here at the side? So this will also help us in when I place this back on. And yes, I have this all clamped in. So this will help us with the placement. And again, when my template is down and we can line up those arrows exactly, we can line up those arrows exactly perfect. So we get the placement exactly where we need to. So yes, this is what this arm is of the Clothsetter. It will help us refine the placement. I've done this again so many times. I find I just put a couple of marks on my fabric and I just end up using the grid that comes with our machines, or it comes with the hoops. I end up using that so much. But again, as these placements line up, again, they line up perfectly of along here and along here. So yes, there's full instructions for the Clothsetter, and you can, yes, most definitely use the Clothsetter for this. I was stitching out yesterday. You see the beginning, and then this is the end of the fabulous Rouville embroidery collection. So yes, we could be using the Clothsetter to help us line up as we're doing edge to edge. We do one hooping here, and then we would move our fabric over, and then we're going to position where the next starting point is. So the Clothsetter would definitely help us in that as well. So there's, again, sort of a couple of different ways to use it. But yes, it's a very, very good system. And again, we take our hoop over, clamp it in. There's my mini duck bill, little duckling. And again, it coincided. It was a free embroidery design when we got these cute little 4-inch mini duckling scissors that, again, I can't sew without. Now, although we've listed the colors here, I just thought, ooh, double check with your Janome Dealer. Look at how bright these fabulous Madeira ultra bright neon colors are. Wouldn't that be a cute duckbill, since it's all, you know, yellow and orange, and the hot pink would be really cute for spring. So double check with your Janome Dealer what threads they have. But yes, there is so much that you can do with your fabulous Janome embroidery machine. And then, yes, with the wonderful Clothsetter to help, again, your hooping and helping refine your embroidery design placement. Now, there's a video that I did as part of the A to Z with Janome series on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. It was the X episode for X Marks the Spot. So you can see more about the Clothsetter there on the Janome HQ. There we go. Janome HQ YouTube channel, or again, Janome America YouTube. There's many videos there. So thank you everyone so much for joining me. That's always, the time goes by so fast. But yes, you can order your Clothsetter. Again, your Janome Dealer may already have it in their store. If not, you could certainly order it from them. So thank you everyone so much for joining me. It's wonderful to see you, and I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.